How to knit the right-leaning mitered decrease, English style.
For this tutorial, you will need a pair of knitting needles and a ball of yarn. Special thanks to our sponsor Webs for providing today's yarn. Today we are using their Northampton yarn from their Valley Yarns line in the color Sage Heather.
The right-leaning mitered decrease is a double decrease. That means that we're removing 2 stitches each time we decrease, and it's going to leave us with 1 stitch in the center. So we're basically decreasing 1 stitch on either side of our center. This is going to give us a really nice sharp decrease that will bring our work to the point if we knit it all the way to the end. So it's not a complete mitered corner because the angle of the decrease is a little bit too shallow, but it is going to give you a nice sharp point, which could be used for all kinds of things, from leaves to other motifs that you want to make. So let's show you how we do this. For our first step, we're going to work until 1 stitch before we want the center of our decrease. So in this case, here's our center stitch. So we're going to stop with the stitch right before that. Okay. For step 2, we're going to slip this first stitch knitwise, okay? And that's because when we decrease, we want to slip our stitches knitwise because we'll be passing it over and we want it to lay the right direction on top of the other stitch. Now for step 3, we're going to knit this second stitch here. And step 4, we're going to pass this slip stitch over. All right, and now we can see that that stitch lays the right direction, so it still looks like it's in pattern. Now for step 5, we're going to slip this stitch we've just worked back over to our main needle, and for step 6, we're going to pass this second stitch over the first stitch, and you'll want to be picking this stitch up purlwise. Okay, we'll pass that over, and then for our last step, step 7, we'll just slip this first stitch back onto our working needle. Alright, so let's do that again one more time. I'm going to just work back to our right side row. We're not going to be decreasing on the wrong side row. So I've worked to the end of the row. We're going to purl back along the wrong side here, and then we'll be set up to do our next decrease. Now it is possible to decrease on the purl side row, but that would make our angle even more shallow if we were decreasing on every single row. Now if you want a less shallow angle to your decreases, you could knit a couple rows before you did another decrease, and that would make the angle wider. Alright, so now, again, for step 1, we're going to knit to the stitch in front of where we want our decrease to end up. Okay, so our center stitch is right here. We can see all the way down we've got our decreases. Then we'll slip this first stitch knitwise, knit the next stitch, pass this stitch over, then we'll slip our stitch back to the main needle, pass the second stitch over the first, and slip our stitch back to the working needle. Alright, and that's how we knit the right-leaning mitered decrease. The reason it's called the right-leaning mitered decrease is because the stitches that lay on the top right here are leaning to the right. So it gives the slight appearance that the predominant angle is to the right, even though it's actually equal on both sides.
Want more New Stitch a Day? Join our VIP email list to get every stitch directly to your inbox. Sign up today at newstitchaday.com/VIP.